So we're now having a look at our reactions between acids and carbonates. So to start with, in the two test tube we've got to the left there, I've already put hydrochloric acid in. So what we're going to do is add sodium carbonate, and then we're going to test our gas by drawing it up in a dropper and bubbling it through lime water that is in another test tube. So I've already, again, my bottle's here, you can't quite see it. Over on the right hand side here is my lime water that I've poured out earlier. So I'm going to put my spatula tip of sodium carbonate into my tube there. So think about what you're observing there. And then I'm going to suck up some of the gas into my dropping pipette here. And then over into my lime water, I'm going to squidge this up and down. Okay. So think about what you've seen. So over on the left-hand side, we saw lots of fizzing. So remember that technical term, effervescence. What does the solution that we formed look like here? Okay. So think about what you can write down there. And then when we bubbled our gas into lime water, what's happened to the lime water and what does that tell us about the gas? Okay, so then we're going to repeat the experiment, but this time using copper carbonate. So copper carbonate is this lovely green colour here. So I'm going to put a spatula tip of my copper carbonate into my hydrochloric acid. So again, you can see and hear that fizzing. So I'm going to empty my tube, my pipette, squidging out the end, and then I'm going to suck up over the surface, so not sucking up the solution, just the gas. And then to my second tube of lime water, I'm going to be squidging again, and then we can see again the same observation. So you can think about what that tells you about the gas. Okay, so now we can continue with our sulfuric acid. So I've refreshed the lime water at the right hand side there, and then I'm going to put sulfuric acid into my middle two tubes, and then we'll repeat the experiment, putting our two carbonates in and then testing the gases again. Okay, so we need to do our sodium carbonate first. So we've got a spatula tip of the sodium carbonate into our sulfuric acid this time. So plenty of effervescence going on there. So sucking up the gas over the surface of the solution and then squishing that around into the lime water. So I'm sucking up and down just to make sure we've got a good contact, good mixing between our gas and our lime water so that we can make good quality observations. And then to repeat again, we will put that nice green copper carbonate powder into our sulfuric acid. Okay, so this one doesn't give us quite such an instant whoosh, but if I bring that over, hopefully you can hear and you can see all the movement in the tube there. So we've got plenty of effervescence going on there now. So again, sucking up the solution, the gas, over the surface of the solution, and then I'm going to squidge that into my lime water at the ends. And we can see our change there. This one's hanging in there, still fizzing. So we can see, I think the last little bit still fizzing away there. We've got tiny little grains left at the bottom there, but I think it's obvious enough to be able to make a conclusion about the solution there. Okay, so in deciding on whether it's clear, can we see through it? Okay, and then you can make a conclusion on the colour. So our last experiment now is to have a look at acid and alkali. So we're going to put sodium hydroxide into our test tubes, along with 2 to 3 drops of indicator, and then we're going to see what happens when we add our acid. So just put 2 drops in there. That's a fairly good colour there. So we have our sodium hydroxide, and with 2 to 3 drops of indicator there, we should be able to see that that's a nice dark blue colour. So that's corresponding on our colour chart to a pH 14. Then I'm going to get my hydrochloric acid, and I'm going to add this, and then I'm going to stir as we go and see what happens. So a couple of drops there. Let's add a few more drops. Did you see some red colour coming there? So I think that was just where we had a lot of acid in one place. So you keep an eye on the colours. If I lift that up a bit, you get see it behind the white. Hey, look, we managed to get a nice green colour there. Now what do you expect to happen if I add another drop of acid? Now we've gone all the way through to red. So we went from the blue through the green to the red. So let's have a go with some sulfuric acid. So here's our sodium hydroxide. So let me hold that up so you get the white colour behind. It's easier to see. So adding a bit of our sodium hydroxide. So it becomes more of a greeny blue as we're going. So that really deep blue has changed a little bit. You might be seeing the odd drop of red around the top where it's much more sulfuric acid than anything else, until I'll give it a good old shake. Still quite bluey. See if we can get that nice green again. Oh, that's yep, that's a fairly good green colour there. So again, do we think one more drop? Oh, maybe it needs 2 more drops. That's still fairly green, but yellow. I'll give it another shake. It's seeing the yellow there as well of a very high pH on the acid range, and then through to the red there. And if I keep on adding, it's just going to stay nice and red for us there. So we can pop those results down as well, the observation. So this time we needed to add our indicator so that we could actually observe a change, because there was no solid going in. We didn't see any fizzing, so the indicator allowed us to make our observations.